As you can see, we've just walked over from the south side. Swindon's divided into north and south by the railway line, and this is the north side. And Bob's going to tell you about this building, which is the Apprentice Training School and the former telephone exchange.
Well, in my younger days, upstairs here was the training room. This is the place where the young apprentices used to be told, this is what you should be doing, this is how you should be behaving. At the moment, I'm being told it's not being used. And down below, that's where we had a telephone exchange, a bit like the Hull exchange. It had its own telephone centre here for the whole of the railway works. To my mind, there's a space up there that could be used to deliver this project. We could have a project for Swindon 175 base there. The GW element would be attached both to the project and to the future as well. But let's hope that something happens to this building, because we need something to happen here.
Right, one of the things that we've got to say while making a film about heritage and regeneration is it's got to be innovative, it's got to be vibrant, and there's got to be permeability. Behind us is an example of
we've got to make sure that whatever we do with these sites has a lasting effect, a sustainable effect, but actually gets to where the people's hearts and minds are, so they feel they're part of something.
So what we're saying, Bob, is we've got some very good innovation here. We've got some vibrancy if we can get our permeability right.
We certainly need to get something right, Steve, if this is going to be delivered. And vibrancy, if you want to use that word, I prefer to say people make a difference. It's people and their ideas doing things that attract people. People get lifted by our own actions, and that gets called vibrancy. Vibrancy is a coined term for really saying about enjoyment, delivery. It's all those things that make our life worth living. And we've got it in abundance in Swindon if we just use it.
Well, let's go and have some more permeability. I'm standing here on the north side of the site in front of George Jackson Churchward House. Now, George Jackson Churchward was a famous engineer on the railway, the Great Western Railway, and he built the first locomotive to break the 100-mile-an-hour barrier. In fact, he built the first mechanical thing on this planet to break the 100-mile-an-hour barrier, and there is still much controversy about that. If you go around to the right, over there you've got the National Historical Monuments Records Office, which is an archive, and obviously there's a lot of heritage in there, and there's even records to do with Swindon. But what I'll do now is I'll hand you over to Bob, and Bob's going to tell you a bit about this place in the corner, the fact that it's going to be a site for a National Postal Museum.
Well, you may have noticed is how well these buildings have been redressed and improved. You may also notice there are signs up saying Thomas. Thomas homes, their housing, their quality was seen already in the flats that we saw earlier on, and they're developing behind me. What's important about that, it shows how old and new can come together and echo the past into today. And we're going to move over to here now and have a look at the National Trust. National Trust have also done the same. They've echoed and echoed the buildings to a degree that you can hardly tell the difference between the old and the new. And what's important about that is that we're trying to make the same connection for the whole of the town, the whole of the heritage site. So it's possible to bring into today the past and make it a key feature for Swindon.
Yes, accompanied by the bells from St Mark's Church, what we've got here is an example of one of the original turntables that were used inside the works and on sidings. The idea was to turn wagons round to put them onto different lines. As you can see, it's got the broad gauge lines on it as well as the normal narrow gauge. So that's 7.25 foot and 4'8". This part of the works here is now, as you can see, part of the Steam Museum. And if you come around to this side, to your right, you can see that over here we've got a locomotive that is undergoing restoration. This locomotive is Agecroft 3. It's actually not a Great Western engine, it's a locomotive from the north of England used in the coal mines and that at Agecroft near Manchester. If you go further on round, you'll see Bob Wright, and Bob will tell you about this workshop here. And the workshop here is one that was used for restoration of steam locomotives, but Bob's got another idea of what that could be used for.
There's a real connection with the railway works even today, because the potential there is to put in a foundry, a white metal foundry, so that visitors coming to Steam and to see the rest of the workplace that we have here could actually participate in some of the skills. So they would cast things like handprints and things like that. So there could be a real live thing taking place in this town today to remind us of days gone by. So what are we after in Swindon? What are we trying to do with a heritage site? Well, listen, look around me, it's already here. But how far do we go with this? Do we just leave it in one spot, or do we actually show the true Swindon, the wider Swindon, the things that we are very, very proud of, but at the moment, not many people know about?
And what we want to do, and that's why we've done this video, is we want to extend this vibrancy here to become permeable. And what we mean by that is, if you look here, you can see how busy it is, but if you look here, you've got a lot of open space that's not being used. And what we need to do is we need to fill all this space we've shown you about today with something that's happening. And I know that Councillor Bob Wright has got visions for his area, but actually this is achievable. And I think that I would like to finish on a positive and say everything we've spoken about is possible in this film, and I'll leave the last word to Bob.
Well, I have to summarise it very simply. If this goes anywhere, it will be the help of everyone that's looking at this film. Everyone that is critical, cynical, believes things can't be done, we have to show it's possible. This site here was done between a number of people, local workers, local visionaries, people from the council, outside investors, old railwaymen. This site is vibrant, it's alive. Let's do it with the rest of Swindon. Come and join me.